welcome back to part two. I know this is long, but I need to share this with you guys so that you will not have to go through this. So then I contact a lawyer, and I tell her this story, and she goes, "Oh, that is utterly ridiculous." She's like, "That is wrong, and they need to return your money back to you. So let me give them a call." So she calls them, and she's like, "Oh, they're saying that the reason why they're needing the 600,000 is because of like they need to pay the gate man, and there was trash, and you know, all these other I think that was it, the gate man and the trash, they need to cover that. Oh, and the water." I said, "I was there for 6 days." She said, "You don't even have to say a word." She said, "We're on the same page." And I told them that she was still only there for 6 days. You can't charge her for a whole month of services when she was there for 6 days. You cannot take a whole month's rent. It makes no sense what you're saying. So I said, thank goodness, I have someone in my corner with some sense. And so I said, "You know what? Here's what I'll do. Tell them I will pay them $250,000 to cover all of those costs, and then they are to return the rest to me." She said, "Wow, that is like that is good of you, you know." And so she was like, "Let me take this back to them." And then she said, if they don't come back in agreement with this, she said, "We're going to have to escalate this to the court." So some more days go by, and she gets back with me, and she says, "Hey, they're still sticking to the 600,000. Well, he's saying that the owner is saying that the 600,000, and so yeah, what do you want to do? At this point." I said, "Well, just as you stated, we will have to take this to court." And so in between that time, my lawyer was going through something, and she was like, "I'm not going to be able to fully dedicate myself to this court case. I'm going to give you someone who is very much so capable of standing in for me, and we'll start to get the paperwork going." So I'm like, okay. So in between that time, I'm like meditating, and the spirit is just like, "You don't have time for this, boo. You do not have time for this." And so I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna let them keep this. They can go ahead. They want to steal 600,000. They can go ahead. The 600,000 will be returned to me 100-fold. They need this 600,000 so bad, that they're willing to create bad karma for themselves and steal from their own, sister. Then fine. I'm gonna go ahead and leave it at that. So I called the lawyer up. I said, "You know what? Just stop the proceedings. Let me just go ahead and allow them to keep it, and allow them to steal this money, and I'll be okay. I'll be okay. Lesson learned. I'll be okay. They have to deal with the consequences of their actions from stealing." And she was like, "Are you sure? No. Are you sure we can just go through this? I know it's going to be a process, but this is wrong what they're doing." And I'm just like, I know it's wrong, and the universe will take care of them. So I said, "But I don't have time for this." I said, "I have to focus on, my business and other things. I don't have time for this, to dedicate energy towards this." And so she was just like, "Okay." And so I called up the nephew, and I said, "Listen, meet me at the compound, this evening, and return the rest of my money to me." And so he's like, "Okay." So I waited till he counted out all the money, because my spirit, whew, I was livid, and it was hard for me to contain myself. I honestly wanted to smack the hell out of him and everybody involved, them all. I'm telling you, I was just really trying to control myself, and but being wise, I said, "Let me let him count this money out to me. I'm gonna verify it. I'm gonna put the money away. I'm gonna let their ass have it." So I did. He counted out the money, minus the 600,000 shillings. I put the money in my purse. And I said, you are a thief. And you need to know that you are a thief. You're a thief. Your aunt's a thief. And everybody who's involved and agreed to get a piece of the pie, to steal money from me. I was very, emotional about it. I said, from me, someone who, since I have come here, has helped so many people. I've asked nothing back in return because I just want them to do well. And you steal from me. And not just me, but just to steal. I'm your sister. And you're going to steal from me? Really? I said, I have a child to take care of and a business to run, and it's just me. And you're going to steal from me. And even if I wasn't a single mother right now, I'm your sister, and you want to steal from me. I said, you are a thief. You are a liar. And I said, and everything that you deserve from doing this, you and your aunt and everybody else who got a piece of the money, everything that you deserve, all of you, I said, shall it be upon you. I was pissed. And he's like, looking like, no, no. I said, and you told my lawyer that, you had an agreement with me. What agreement did you have with me? Did I sign the lease? Did I give you a signed lease? No, madam, you didn't. I said, okay, so I have an agreement with you. I said, but you are participating in theft, and you will get what's coming to you. And I walked out. I was so upset, you guys, to steal from me, your sister. This is the way we're treating each other? Really? This is what we're doing now? You're so hungry for some shillings that you're going to create bad karma for yourself? You're going to keep poverty around you doing stuff like that. So, that was that. 600,000 shillings stolen from me. What I would encourage you all to do to prevent this from happening to you is, if you can, pay month to month. Now, I know a lot of landlords aren't in agreement with that here. So then we go to the next option. Do it in increments of 3 months. I would encourage you to do it in increments of 3 months. I would encourage you to have a sound, like a tight, like a very thorough written agreement. I would even video, the meeting of the from the beginning of when any repairs that you agreed upon. Put that in writing, video it. Make sure that both parties, have signed it, but also have a witness. And that witness, it should be an attorney. Okay. It should be an attorney. The lease, if you don't understand the jargon in the lease, I come from I'm a realtor. I was a realtor back in the States. So I know lease jargon, but if you don't know it, you should have an attorney look over it, and make sure that it is mutually beneficial. So that is my advice, just to pay as little money as possible. What I did in the current compound that I am in, because when I saw this compound, again, it needed some repairs. The owner could not finish the home and the repairs because he ran out of money. And so what I did was, I gave the owner of this compound a 50% rent advance, and I wrote up a airtight contract, and I gave him a 50%, and I said the other 50% will be transferred to you upon satisfactory completion of these repairs. And on the dates that was set forth in the agreement. So the only way that you're going to really be able to protect yourself is, the written part, yeah, but they can still breach that, okay? And you can still find yourself in a legal battle or having to go to court, but withholding as much money as possible as a contingency, just withholding that money and saying, this is contingent upon you doing, then, you will get this much released to you upon satisfactory completion on this particular date. That's the best way that you're going to be able to protect yourself. Just pay as little as possible upfront. That is my advice to you. And of course, having that written agreement and having the lawyer as a witness, just in case you do have to escalate and you do have to go to court, that you have everything laid out in writing. Okay? So protect yourself. Don't go on verbal agreements. Don't pay, the whole 6 months in advance. If you're doing a 6-month lease, if you're doing a 4-month lease, kind of try to split it in half, and pay in increments until everything that you need done is completed to your satisfaction. That is my advice to you, brothers and sisters. Learn from my mistakes, but yeah, and we have to do better. Stealing from one another, deceiving one another, that's not going to help us rise. That is not going to help us, reach the divine unity that we once had. We have to have the same heart and the same mind towards the same principle. And that is our sovereignty. That is us rising back into our rightful position of power. We cannot do that if we are mistreating one another in this way, if we're deceiving one another, if we are stealing from one another. We can't do it. We won't be able to reach, our rightful position. We won't be able to join together in divine unity as our ancient ancestors once were. We will not. It's not going to happen. You shall reap what you have sown. So if I were you, I would sow good seeds, So that is my story. That is how 600,000 shillings, that's, what happened. That's how it was stolen from me. Please take heed, learn from my mistakes, and take my advice to protect yourself. Put things in writing. Get an attorney. Make sure you have a trustworthy attorney. Look over the lease. Make sure that they are also signing off on the lease as a witness. Make sure that you are not paying a large sum of money in advance before the repairs are done and before the home is is ready for you to reside in. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay? Also, you guys, do not negotiate with anyone other than the owner, the rightful owner of the compound. Do not negotiate monthly rent with anyone and repairs and any other thing that has to do with that home and that compound. Do not discuss that with anyone other than the owner. Also, make sure that you are speaking to the rightful owner of that compound. That is also very important. As you heard, someone was misrepresenting themselves as the owner of the compound that I previously resided in. Make sure that you are speaking with the owner. Very, very, very important. So yeah. All right, you guys. So until next time, be good.